Hello,
Hello.
Roger.
Hello, we're on.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you, everyone, for that mysterious silence. We were working out the technical difficulties here, but I'm so pleased that you could join me, Roger. For those of you who don't know, I am Miranda Metcalf. I am the Director of Sales and Programming at SAC Gallery here in Bangkok. And Roger Washington is joining me this Bangkok afternoon, Europe midday, I think,
Midday, probably.
midday, yeah, to have a chat about the current exhibition we have at SAC, which is curated by Roger, featuring Tashi Brauen, called Hold On to That Paper Again. So, Roger, before we sort of dive into the exhibition, would you please introduce yourself and
Absolutely.
maybe talk a little bit about Ronewa Art Projects, which
Absolutely.
is your art company that brought Tashi here to Bangkok?
Yes, for viewers that don't know me, my name is Roger Washington. I'm the owner and director of Ronewa Art Projects. We are currently based in Berlin. This is where we hold our office. And I'm physically located here in Bangkok. My wife and I were transferred here about maybe 4 years ago, 2017. And since then, I have not been operating a physical gallery, but more or less we are doing online exhibitions. And pre-COVID, Ronewa Art Projects was also involved in art fairs, for the most part in Berlin and at paper positions in Basel, Switzerland. So in terms of our current exhibition and in terms of a little history and background on Tashi Brauen, I first met Tashi Brauen in Berlin, probably back in 2017. I was introduced to Tashi Brauen by the then Swiss ambassador, Christine Schrauner, who was originally the ambassador here in Bangkok. And Tashi had an exhibition at the SAC Gallery, I believe that was in 2017. And so Christine transferred to Berlin and she introduced me to Tashi Brauen. I saw his works and I was particularly fascinated with Tashi's relief sculptures. After our initial talk, I guess via email then and on WhatsApp, on the phone, I decided to go to Switzerland to see his works in person. And upon my arrival in Switzerland, I was immediately pleased with his work, pleased with his practice, and I got a chance to see his relief sculptures and some of the other artworks that he was doing at the time. He was working on a project that we eventually developed. It was part of the Figuration series. And these works I actually exhibited in Berlin, along with 2 large relief sculptures. And since that time, he and I have been working together and collaborating on various projects. We're in touch quite often. And of course, at my gallery in Berlin, he was able to do the relief sculptures. And here in Thailand, we had thought about how we could work this out initially, and we came up with the idea that it was not possible for us to recreate the relief sculptures because he couldn't be here. And so we decided then to just go with some of the works and some of the projects that he and I had worked on together in the past, and that was his Crack series, which I believe started in 2016. Maybe 2015, 2016. And then accompanying the Cracks series, we decided to go with his, one of the series he started in the COVID, as a result of the COVID pandemic, and that is his Do Works. And so we have both series on show there at the SAC Gallery. There are 16 Do Works on show, as you can see here. And in terms of the Crack series, we have 7 works that are 80 by 60, exactly, panning over there. 80 by 60 are their smaller works. And then we have the 120 by 80. These are the works here, the green, yellow, red, and the blue works there. And the larger works are the 160 by 120. Those are the 160 by 120 works. And so there's a total of 35 works. very happy to have all of these works at the SAC. This exhibition has been in the making for quite some time. Originally, Tashi and I had wanted to involve his mother probably back in 2018, and the project didn't come to fruition because of transportation and funding for the exhibition. And so we waited, and surprisingly, it was agreed that this could happen now. Believe it or not, this is a global pandemic. So we had to work on getting the works shipped here, having them framed, and all of this without Tashi Brauen being here. And so he and I have been working together, you know, with Miranda at the SAC and the whole team working together to make this all possible. And when you see the works in person, you know, your mouth drops. The works are extraordinary. I think both series together complement each other. And yeah, we're very excited that the SAC was pleased to, you know, to take us on, to work with us, to trust us. And I think it's an excellent collaboration. And when you do a little research, you'll find that there are not many hybrid exhibitions going on globally because of the pandemic. But I think, I don't know how many you've had here in Thailand, here in Bangkok, but I think this could be one of a few globally where you actually have a physical exhibition just exposed to an online exhibition occurring simultaneously. And I think that this collaboration reaches far beyond the local gallery space, and it reaches far beyond people who are not in Bangkok were able to see the exhibition online, and vice versa. People online are able to actually plug in and watch the exhibition unfold here at the SAC. We're posting regularly and posting newsletters, posting on all the social media networks. And I think this is an exciting exhibition for all.
Definitely, absolutely. I'm hoping too, maybe you could talk a little bit more about how the actual COVID world, post-pandemic, working long distance, Tashi's in Switzerland, you're here in Bangkok. How did you come about this collaboration in order to make the beautiful exhibition that we see without ever having been in the same room?
Exactly. I don't think this would have been possible without technology when you look at it. And I think artists globally are suffering it now, as well as galleries. And I think this is a phenomena that it's going to continue until things get better, until things, I don't know if you believe it or not, people don't believe it, but until the world is actually come to terms with the COVID pandemic. I think overall, with the current situation and the way we communicate, everything is happening more or less online. It's happening through artists connecting with galleries, artists connecting with each other. Right now, their artists are suffering globally because they don't have the materials. And so artists like Tashi are utilizing their tradition, utilizing their traditional practice. For example, with Tashi in his crack series, this is something he's been working on for the past 4 years. And then you have the Do series, which is basically coming out of the COVID pandemic. And so I think in terms of communicating, how artists are communicating with galleries and galleries communicating with artists, I think one of the most important things is that you for artists is images. And I think with Tashi, because of his background in photography, he's made this very easy. He's produced these the images for us in different formats, and that's allowed us to share. And this has allowed us to showcase high resolution images to the public, which I think is good. And I think right now we're very fortunate in Bangkok to have gallery spaces open, because globally, when you look at it, you know, there are lockdowns going on everywhere in Germany. And I believe now, Tashi and I talked about it, in Switzerland, galleries are closed. And so how does the public access art How does the public access good art? And it happens through social media channels. It happens through newsletters. And I think for us, this has happened with our online viewing room. And I think our online viewing room has enabled us to go directly to clients, go directly to collectors who would not have been able to see Tashi's works and the other works that are on exhibit. And when you look at it from a global perspective, these communication channels are open in terms of sales due to a history with specific collectors, in terms of the artist bringing in their collectors, myself bringing in my collectors, and just bringing art to the public through online viewing rooms, which I think is going to be a part of us now, particularly because of the COVID virus. When you look back, probably before 2019, I'm not sure if there were any online viewing rooms available to the public. Artsy and a few other platforms do offer this, and I think this has probably saved the art world, and this has helped artists tremendously, because otherwise they would not have access to this. And when you look at the global market in particular, online exhibitions, according to Art Basel, have accounted for at least 12 billion in sales. So our hybrid collaboration is really part of the global ecosystem where we're bringing art directly to the public. And I'm very happy with this. And I understand that you're also, you have your physical gallery, as well as you're also engaged in Artsy, where you can showcase Tashi's work and the work of other artists in your portfolio. So I think that this is a win-win for both of us.
Yes, absolutely. I am just thrilled that we were able to show international artists like Tashi during this time when borders are closing and things are getting more and more difficult. So this has been a great opportunity. Sort of speaking of that kind of exchange, you know, you represent several artists at Ronewa. So why Tashi specifically for Bangkok when you were thinking of doing a project here?
One of the fascinating things about Tashi that occurred when we first met, we immediately discussed his collaboration with Serendia and his collaboration with the Swiss Embassy here in Bangkok. And I think one of the things that came out of it, which I was quite surprised at, sort of laugh at now, is how well Tashi got integrated into the system. He remembers visiting the SAC Gallery and meeting members of the team, and Mr. Subashok meeting him. And I think, well, to be honest, it was the team, it was your team, and also the space itself. And you have a very unique space. And I think that's one of the things that when you arrive at the gallery, as you're looking at these beautiful artworks, at Tashi's beautiful artworks on the wall, you can see the space. And I think for Tashi, that was very important. And also issues of trust, because we are collaborating at, you know, such a long distance, we have to really develop an understanding of each other. And from the very beginning, we never had any question about this. And so I think that was one of the initial things that we were looking at, was the space, how well we got along with one another. And I think this is something that is happening globally now. When I meet the artist, one of the things I look at is, can this artist become part of my family, you know? And just a little story, when I was in Basel doing paper positions, I was in a small restaurant having coffee. And one of the people next to me, I didn't know who they were, but we started a conversation. And before we parted, one of the things they told me, that they were the friends of one of the largest galleries. I won't say the name of the gallery, but one of the largest galleries in the world. And they told me a story about how they communicate with some of their top artists, how her friend and how the family communicated with some of the top artists that they had. And they communicate in a way where they make the artist, where they bring the artist in as part of their family. They take the artist out on their boats. The artists are part of they take them out to dinner. They invite them over to their homes. And so the artists become part of the family. And after hearing this, I said, you know something, this is what I would like to do, because I didn't know that this was part of development, long-term relationships. And I think that's very important is I try to have this with my artists. We're a family and we're a global family. And this is how I would like to communicate with the artists that I have to make it open, open dialogue. I'm always willing to learn, and I'm willing to get information from them that in a way that can help me sell their work, help me to understand their process. In a way, also, I'm also hoping that they will gain knowledge from me and from my experience. And so I think global collaborations will be part of the new ecosystem. And this is because of technology. And yeah, I think that as long as the pandemic is going on, this is where we are. This is how the world's going to be. Everyone wants this to end. Everyone wants to go back to the galleries. They want to be in your position, Miranda. They want to look at the art. They want to touch the art. And everyone wants to be in your position and have the position to showcase art. And I think you guys are smart for also developing, your online platform with Artsy. And you can get out to the rest of the world. You can get out to an international audience. And that's something that Ronewa Art Project is doing. And that's just what our online viewing room is accomplishing now. Yes.
Yes, absolutely. I think that's a real reason why the collaboration I think has been so strong is that, both of our entities, we're looking to communicate. How do we connect with people outside the walls of the white cube? How do we engage? How do we create content that is going to reach someone who knows, like maybe they've been in lockdown for 80 days or something, and really actually have that connection with art across the distance, which is so huge. And it's cliche to say, but now more than ever, of course.
Exactly.
Yeah. So as the curator of the exhibition, what would you like visitors to take away? When you were sort of putting the show together, is there anything in particular that Bangkok visitors you'd love to see them come away with once they've experienced it in person, when they can?
Very good question. Part of the process that we have, let me go back to my team in Berlin. I have to say your name, April Dell. We really like to focus on the artist, and we really like to focus on the work and the content that we write. I'm so thankful for April in this. And so when the collaboration, the family relationship that I spoke to you about is also integrated in the curation process. We didn't want to take over the exhibition by saying, okay, Tashi, this is where the works will be hung. And what we wanted was a cooperation. And so Tashi was very instrumental. He's not here. And so, the SAC has this wonderful, I don't know this computer program you have, but it has a fantastic program where you can actually, you have your own virtual gallery. And so Tashi and I were talking, and I sent him this, and we sort of, he was instrumental in placing the works where he thought were relevant, and we're looking at the colors. And the most important thing that he and I think can agree is that space. You look at the works, you arrive at the front door, and you're looking at the walls, and you're looking, yes, exactly. Look at all this natural light coming in, and you have it's going in all over the space, and you have your lighting, your track lighting system showcases the art perfectly well. And I think for Tashi and for me, I think it was about space because of the dynamic colors. Can you imagine looking and having all these works, all these 35 works close together, touching each other? There would have been a different impression. And I think that what we're wanting is to absorb the space with the dynamic colors of the artworks. Take your time, go to each artwork. And when you're looking at the crack series, you'll notice that most of the double panel cardboard cracks are diptychs. And you and I discussed the practice earlier. It's a spontaneous process of how spontaneous, but yet intentional of how he crafts the works. And you're looking at that, and it's sort of like it's almost a language in a way. It's intentional where he's cracking, and it's spontaneous. And we want the viewers just to look at that, just to absorb it, and just take time to reflect on the
Yeah.
work. And so all of the whole process of this exhibition, from the works itself to the framing, it was all orchestrated for the viewers, and you see the space there, all that white space there. The works are not jumbled together, and you can see that gives you just time to reflect. And I think that's one of the most important aspect of this is just the space, the time to reflect, and just to absorb.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, you know, as we talked about, we're both big believers in having a digital presence and getting the message out, but you also have to say nothing ever replaces seeing work in person. You know,
Exactly.
particularly I think work that has these wonderful sort of subtle shifts, that's playing with perception, that it's different when you're close and you're far away. But we're definitely working on bringing that to people as much as we can.
Very
So
fortunate.
before we kind of sign off on the little curator talk, I'm sure people watching would love to hear maybe your thoughts about the art market more broadly. You know, you're someone who's kind of on the cutting edge. You've got, you know, you've got people in Berlin, you're here in Bangkok, you're creating these beautiful online viewing rooms that I highly recommend anyone to take a look at the Ronewa viewing room if you haven't already. It's wonderfully curated, beautiful text. So from your perspective, you know, as the global trotter and the art dealer, where are you seeing things going?
One of the comments that you made, it's very relevant, and it's something I think that everyone wants to happen. Nothing will take place of a space like the SAC, of a gallery exhibition like this, of a gallery space like this. Having said that, when you look at online sales and you look at my experience, you don't have to believe me. Just look at the market itself. When you look at it and you read about it, you'll know that the majority of sales that take place really doesn't happen between people who don't know me, people who don't know the artist. It happens with people who are part of our network, people who are sharing, people who have a history with either the artist I'm working with or myself. And we have artists from Greece, from Greece, artists from Germany, from Switzerland. We have Douglas Diaz as well. He's in. I met Douglas Diaz here in Thailand. Now he's in Bali. He's selling very well. And people, of course, they're not buying these works. Well, I think for Douglas, he has a different market, but you know, he's also online now. And I think developing a relationship with people, I think, is very important in sustaining this. And as I said before, 12 billion in sales and online, in the online art market is quite significant. And in some respects, this is what has kept the art market afloat. And many galleries have closed. Many artists are struggling to find supplies to make ends meet now. And I think that these collaborations, these online viewing rooms, and the platform that you're working on with Artsy, we're basically keeping the art market afloat. We have a new exhibition coming up after this with an artist, a Chinese Finnish artist. Afterwards, an artist from Canada. How do we communicate? We remain open, and we produce our text. We're sending newsletters, which don't work for all galleries, all institutions, but newsletters are something that allows us to directly position ourselves to the collectors, and it's a matter of looking at the future right now and sort of praying that things will work out in the future, but just looking at the realities of now. This is where we are now, and not every place is as fortunate as Thailand, to offer physical brick and mortar exhibitions. Things are online now, and I think the most of the galleries that I know are starting to take advantage of that. There are new platforms up now, to showcase art, and I'm so happy for you guys, to allow us this opportunity, and one of the most, I just want to go back to something about, we would have offered a third series of works. We would have, if Tashi had come. Tashi would have been happy to have done his on-site relief sculptures, and it's part of his signature when he's particularly when working in a large space like this. I'm just looking around and imagining, how he would want his artwork, how these relief sculptures positioned, and so yeah. So this is where we are now. Yeah.
Well, hopefully another time when we're seeing the other side of all of this, we would adore hosting Tashi in person. He's been a delight to work with long distance. So I really hope we get a chance to have that more, I say, new normal way of interacting with artists. But it's been just wonderful having the experience of doing the online exhibition in collaboration with the in-person exhibition and finding ways to connect with people around the world. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Miranda. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And on behalf of Tashi Brauen, we're really, really delighted and grateful that you've allowed us this opportunity, and we look forward to collaborating with you in the future and to having this hybrid exhibition. And we're very, very thankful. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. And the exhibition is here, open in person until the 22nd of May. So people definitely still have time who are in Bangkok. And we can post links in the comments to this video that are going to be the online viewing room through Ronewa, the artsy page through SAC. And so definitely take time to look at those. There are beautiful high resolution photos you can zoom in on, see all of the details. So we will post links to that. And Roger, thank you for spending the early evening with me. And of course, I look forward to continually collaborating with you.
Thank you very much. And please give our warmest regards to the team, and also to the SAC family, to the Super Shock family.
We certainly will. Have a beautiful evening, Roger.
You too. Good night.